Joining me now, Florida Congresswoman Paulina Luna. She confronted anti-Israel protesters at George Washington University yesterday. Congresswoman, for me, one of the most infuriating things from that campus that I know very well was how the protesters felt completely at ease with defacing the father of our country, George Washington, our first president, even wrapping a headscarf around the statue's head. Where are the administrators, and what did you see when you were there?
Most certainly. So actually myself and members of oversight had actually gone to talk to some of these administrators. And you know what, Laura, when we were there, we had actually asked the administrators whether or not the White House had reached out. Mind you, this campus is only minutes away. And not only had they not reached out, but this school was actually denied help by Metropolitan Police, by Mayor Bowser and Washington, D.C. And what's even more horrifying, Laura, is that this is a private university. There's trespassing happening, but also, too, they made it a point to say that there was outside organizations that were bringing in people, not students, to the campus in order to incite a lot of what you're seeing on the screen right now. And to go even a step further, there were people in the crowds, Laura, that the administrator was reporting that were holding signs that said final solution. So as you know, that is absolute racism. But what we're finding is these people are going into these universities. A lot of them are not students, and they're being funded by left-wing organizations.
Well, Congresswoman Jayapal gave an answer when asked about anti-Semitism. Watch.
What would your message be to a Jewish student who doesn't feel welcome or even safe on their own campus right now?
I think my message is the same to a Jewish student, to a Palestinian student, to everybody, that it is really important to educate yourself about what is anti-Semitic, about what is Islamophobic.
Congresswoman, a lesson in Islamophobia is what's in order now. Essentially, that's what President Biden did this morning as well. He's kind of echoing what she said.
They are definitely tiptoeing around this situation. Laura, I actually came on your show earlier this past year when Joe Biden failed to condemn this same group of quote unquote peaceful protesters that took over the DNC, assaulted officers, and lit things on fire while I was barricaded in the Longworth office building with my then infant son. And so when I say that they know that the DNC has been infected with anti-Semitism and has an issue, the reason why they're addressing it this way, Laura, is because they're losing the national argument on both sides. And as I'm sure you know, recently, actually at the University of Alabama, college students united for their displeasure for this president. But it is gross to see, and as a sitting member of Congress, to see other members of Congress fail to condemn this, knowing that these are absolutely becoming violent protests and that they are a part of pushing this messaging. It's just disgraceful.
Well, Congresswoman, do you believe that real terrorist elements are woven into, or at least terrorist sympathizing elements woven into the ideology behind this movement? That it's not just about one issue, Palestine. It's a much broader issue when you look at their lists of demands.
Absolutely. In fact, what we're finding is a lot of the talking points that we're seeing that are being spread with these political protests and organizers are actually tied to Hamas rhetoric and also other entities that have been deemed by the State Department as terrorist organizations. And that's exactly why I think that as House oversight members, we need to follow the money trail, because it's not just what they're saying in this particular topic, but they are pushing left-wing ideologies and things that are ultimately...
Oh, it's anti-Americanism.
Yeah, it's anti-Americanism.
It's anti-Americanism. I mean, I think it's anti-Israeli, but it's anti-Americanism. I mean, many of these people are for the overthrow of the U.S. government, dismantling every institution. I want to play for you part of what the University of Chicago chapter of this madness is actually demanding. Watch this.
We demand that Chicago repair the harm it has caused in Palestine, Chicago, and beyond, as well as implementing a communally accountable program of reparation, disbanding UCPD and redirecting funds to Southside community-based projects, expanding employer-assisted housing, harmonizing the endowment, and reducing emissions by 50% by 2030.
Congresswoman, this is about climate change. I mean, this is kind of the wish list of what the Biden administration has been pushing, right? I mean, maybe not to defund the police so explicitly, but a lot of these other issues, they dabble in this stuff. They'd even dabble in this idea of reparative justice for aggrieved minorities.
Absolutely. In fact, these are a lot of the Antifa talking points that we also saw during BLM. And isn't it interesting with the timing coming up on the election season that they are now using this as a vessel to push this Marxist agenda? I'm right there with you, Laura. I think that there are people behind this movement that do not want us to unite as a country. And that's exactly why we went to this university to see for ourselves what was happening.
Congresswoman, good job. Great to see you as always. Thank you. A fraternity faced